No doubt about it. Whitney Houston is going to be a star.
Oh, listen to that.
21 years old, all this success coming to you. How are you handling it so far?
I'm taking it day by day. I'm pretty cool about it. It's exciting, but it's okay. Yeah.
Now let's see, your mother and Dionne Warwick and a lot of friends like Aretha Jackson, Aretha Franklin, you grew up with. How did they influence you?
I think just by being around them and listening to the music, I love the way that they made people feel about what they were singing. So I think if I wanted to become a singer, that's the way I wanted to make people feel also. I mean, the fire, the music, everything was just there. So I love that.
When did you start singing?
I started singing professionally at 12. I'd been singing several years before that in church, which is where I grew up and got my basic training.
Gospel singing?
Yes, yes. And I started singing at 12. I had no idea really until I was about 12. When I decided that I wanted to become a professional singer, that's when I knew that, hey, I can sing, you know, I might as well do something great with it. So that's when I knew. The first time Clive heard me sing, I think, was when we presented a showcase at Top Cat Studios. We were bringing down record companies, and Clive came down one day, and that's when he heard me sing, and I guess that's when he said, ooh, I want signing.
Could you tell while you were singing that things were looking good?
Do you know what? He gave no reaction at all, actually. He didn't say that it was great, you know, and he was the only person that I thought, wow, I wonder if he liked me. I wonder if, you know, he didn't give me any reaction at all, but come to find out, he did. He really did.
1 year ago, you said that you could walk. You could go shopping, you could go to the movies, and you could walk around without anybody bothering you. What's it like now?
It's a little different now. It was that way then, except that it's hard when you are able to do that for so long, and then all of a sudden you can't go anywhere without being recognized. I just refuse to become this prisoner of my own fame. I like the fact that I am who I am, and that I know who I am, and that I am a human being also. And I like going out. I like breathing the air. I like going out and seeing how people walk through the mall and how they, how they laugh and what they laugh at. And I like driving. I like all the things that everybody else likes to do, So therefore, it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. It's very difficult that I can't go anywhere without being recognized. But I can go when I choose to go. I am a person, so I can do basically what I choose to do if I choose to do it.
Do you think that things have gone too fast? Would you like to sort of turn the clock back, like a bit slower?
I think sometimes I would want things just to stop for a moment. Just stop, just for a moment. And when I'm feeling that way, I know that it's time to stop, and I stop everything. I don't want to deal with Whitney. I don't want to hear about Whitney news. I don't want to hear about Whitney's records. I don't want to hear about anything Whitney is doing. And that's when it stops for me. My parents were very wise in letting me grow up. And I had a childhood. I was a child, and I did all the things children do. And I was a teenager, and I got in trouble, and I got hollered at, and I got beatings, for doing things that I shouldn't have done. I wasn't this, child that was just kept in this bottle and, oh, you're going to be a star, so you have to live like this. I did all the normal things that children do. And like I told you, it was my decision to become this entertainer. I was about 13 years old, and I decided that I wanted to sing professionally and to make the transition from gospel music into singing, Well, I wanted it to be my career, It's just when I decided this is what I wanted to do. And from there, my mother sort of took me by my hand, and she said, okay, since I know, better than anybody, and what better teacher to have, but, it's me. And we went to the studio, and I started doing sessions and working with various artists. And then on the weekends, I would work with her at nightclubs. And it was sort of a good way to getting my chops, so to speak, and that's what we call it in the States. And learning my profession, you know, and still I maintained going to church, you know. I still was singing gospel music, and that is my love, my love. And, you know, that's basically how I started. And then one day, I think when I was about 16 years old, I was with my mother in New York, and modeling came into the picture. I was viewed by this guy who just saw me, and he asked if I was interested in modeling, and I said, well, you know, yeah, okay, fine. And
where did he see you?
He saw me in Carnegie Hall, the Carnegie Hall building. And we were going to see someone there, and he saw me, and he asked me if I would go upstairs to this new modeling agency, that they were looking for someone like me. And my mother said, what the heck, let's go. And I went, and they loved me, and they signed me, and I started modeling. And then when I graduated from high school, because I couldn't do anything really as far as singing was concerned, as far as signing contracts, until I graduated high school.
Your family is very important to you.
My family is my foundation. You know, this is a crazy business, and a lot can happen to one in this business. And if you don't know quite who you are and who loves you and cares for you, you can get quite lost. And it's important that family, to me, you know, maintains the same kind of love and care that they had for you before you became the star.
Your mother, Whitney Houston, is a well-known singer in the States. Your cousin is Dionne Warwick, and Aretha Franklin is also a friend of the family. Did they discover your talent before anybody else did?
My mother, I think, knew because of my singing in church. I think she was more aware of it first than I was. She recognized the fact that I did have a good voice. I think she waited to see what I was going to do with it. She didn't want to push me or force me into doing something that I didn't want to do. But it was my decision to become a singer, and because she knew it so well and she knew the business so well, it was just not about becoming a singer, but learning the business and that aspect of singing. It's important to know that also. So she recognized it first, and, you know, I said, well, okay, you know, that was it. My mother was a bit apprehensive about it because she knew the dangers of being in the business, and she always says, I never wanted you to be in this business, but it was what you wanted to do, and you had the talent to do it. And she also says to me, if you could not sing, if you didn't have the kind of talent that you had, I would have never let you become a singer. I would have, you know, told you and recognized other talents in you that maybe you had. Because it's no good when you just want to go out there and to do something because somebody else does it. It's not, you know, it's not good for you. And Mom sort of knew. She was, you know, very smart. My parents knew, and they didn't let me go so early as to when you become a child star, and then you're very confused when you get older because you don't know what it is that you really want to do, and usually there's always something else that you want to be or do. So I kind of took my time with it, yeah. But Mom recognized it. I was taught that in my rearing from my parents that you can't love anyone unless you love yourself. And no matter what, your dislikes, I mean, there's a lot of things that we may not like about ourselves. There are a lot of things that we may not exactly love about ourselves. But through all of it, we still have to live with ourselves every day. We have to eat with ourselves. We have to sleep with ourselves. So if you don't love yourself, then who's going to love you, you know? And I think that that is a message within itself. You know, learning to love yourself is the greatest love. And it's difficult sometimes, you know, because I think we're our own worst enemy, and then again, we're our best friend. So it's a difficult thing. You have to sort of, you know, balance it out to, you know, to the degree of you knowing that you know yourself and you're pretty content with yourself, you know. And when you can love yourself, then you can love everybody else.
So where are you going from here? How far can you get?
It seems like there's no place else to go. That seems to be the question now for me. Where do you go now? There are movies in mind that I'm thinking about doing. I really want to take my time with that because that's a different avenue of self-expression. And I want to make sure that I'm really prepared for it, that I can really do it. And everybody else seems to think I can, but I know that I can, but I want to really, really feel that I can. And at some point, I'd like to just settle down and just have some children, get married, you know, and live that life and dedicate myself to other people, you know.
I understand that if you have a good voice, you can sing, but where did you learn how to act on stage and perform and you know, show your emotions?
Well, it started with me in singing gospel music in church. My mother always said to me, if you don't feel what you're singing, and if you don't sing from your heart, then there's no need to do it. People will feel if you reach down in your soul and present it as such. When I started to work with my mother on the weekends, it sort of gave me time, and that was my practice stage to see if I really could not only sing but deliver the song and help other people to feel what I'm saying. So that was the time that I had to practice. You know, I spent a lot of time working with my mother, many years before I just popped up and became this, you know, the star. And that's where I learned it. That's how I learned how to do this, you know, watching my mother and watching Dion and, you know, being around all these great voices. It was a privilege.
So you're never afraid of showing your emotions? I mean,
oh, I was. At one time, I was deathly afraid of it. I was very scared and very nervous about it. It's something that you have to reach down in yourself and sort of become just unafraid, you know, to saying, well, either I'm going to, you can't sing a song without expressing it, you know, without feeling it yourself, and then other people will feel it also. So you do, I went to that stage of, oh, I'm so afraid and I don't want to do this, and what do people think of me, and, you know, if I get too lost in my emotion, then I may not, you know, you always go through that, but you sort of pull it out of yourself, and there it is.
The first question is, I just need an overall feeling about doing the South African trip, and have you been to Africa before?
Okay, no, I have never been to Africa before. This will be my first time there. I'm very excited. I think I am elated about the changes that have been made there. It's only the beginning, but it's a damn good start.
You used to idolize him when you were a kid. I never idolized anyone. I admire people. I look up to people, and I admire their talents and their gifts that, you know, God has blessed them with. But my mother told me never to idolize anyone because you might be very disappointed.
Yeah? Is that something you can control? I mean, don't you just sort of fall for people like you do when you're a kid?
No. See, when I was growing, I grew up in show business, so I'm what you call a showbiz kid. So I was given the antidote already. You know, my mother she told me never to look at people as an image. Look at them as people, because they are people. And if you meet people most of the time that you idolize, you may find, you know, if they come off, maybe they're not feeling well that day, and they may come off a little different. Then you feel rejection, and you feel hurt. You feel disappointed that this person didn't live up to your expectations.
I listen to singers. I very rarely listen to people who cannot sing. I guess maybe it's because I'm a singer myself, and I can truly identify. I love other artists. You know, I like some of the stuff that Janet does. Janet Jackson. I love some of the stuff she does. I like Bobby Brown. I like Babyface. I like Pebbles. I like, you know, there are artists that I truly I enjoy listening to, but I'm into certain artists.
Who is it that you haven't worked with that you would like to?
Who would I like to work with? I always said it would be Michael Jackson at this point. I think he and I would probably create a lot of real magic, really. I mean, incredible magic.
Oh, there's no. Well, there was rumors about that like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't there? That you guys were doing something together. Was it just rumor, or were there actually talks at that point?
We talked about it. You know, it's one of the things. Say, hey, Mike, let's do a record. Yeah, let's do a record. Okay. You know.
Right. And no one follows
Call
up.
me. Yeah, you know, but you know, just things take time, because I'm sure there's things that he's doing now that he wants to do. You know, so in the future. In the future.
So obviously it won't happen for his next album, which is coming out pretty soon.
No, I don't think so. He hasn't called me.
The last couple of years, who's your favorites?
That's a hard one because, you know, I've heard a lot of people, and I'm very particular about whom and what I listen to. I still listen to Earth, Wind & Fire.
Right.
I still listen to Aretha Franklin. I still listen to, you know, the oldies like Mint Condition. I listen to folk that had content in their songs. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I do like to listen to, like, I love Christina Aguilera. I love her song. I love her voice. I love her tone. And Beyonce, of course, is always a love. But recently, I mean, mostly, like I told you, Alicia Keys became appealing to me because she was a person who was writing songs with content.
Right.
Something that had some content and some melody to it.
Right.
And I'm saying that people, that, you know, it's very important that when you're writing or when you're singing a song, when you're interpreting a song, that it's something that people can sing along to, that they can catch on to, that they can identify with in some way or another is most important. So, I mean, you know, those are some of the artists that I kind of love.
And then Jennifer comes behind her and sings I'll Always Love You. And nobody takes that song and takes a shot at it. Nobody does. Everybody's scared of that song, you know. Not Jennifer. Not Jennifer. She's got the pipes for it. She's got the pipes for it. She's got that big sound. She's got the gospel for it, you know. I was very impressed, and I was honored that she would come out and she sang for me, and sang that particular song. I've never heard anybody take a shot at that song and do it. I was going to be in show business. I was born in show business. Okay, my mother, my cousin Dion, my whole family, Dee Dee Warwick, we were all a part of show business. It wasn't like I said, you know what, I'm going to sing or I'm going to be in show business. I came out singing since I was 3. By the time I was 5, I was singing. By the time I was 9, I had a voice of a 20-year-old woman, which was remarkable to my mother and my father, and they were like, oh my God. So, but I took my time. You know, after 16 years old and I graduated high school, my mother said I couldn't sign a contract until I graduated high school. And when I graduated high school, I was able to sign because they wanted to sign me at 14. My mother said I was too young, that I didn't know enough, and she was correct.
Sometimes I think about Clive and my conversations during the album makings, and there have been times when he and I just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And after a while, I find that to be funny because me and Clive have been together for 25, going on 30 years. Therefore, there have been moments and times where he just goes, you know what, you're just impossible. And I go, out of all these people and all the walls that you have on these people, you have Sly Stone, you got Janis Joplin, you got Art Funk, Simon & Garfunkel. I'm the most impossible one. And he goes, yeah, and I just thought that was the funniest thing. That's funny. After his long career as an executive and someone who knows how to take a singer and a song and put them together, you know what I'm saying, and just knows how to go out there and get that raw talent, I just thought, wow, I'm impossible.
What's it been like taking responsibility in this movie that means so much to so many people? You know, God has His own time. I have to put it in that perspective because 13 years ago, Aaliyah was to play this part. She was our Sparkle, and she was absolutely perfect for it. She wanted it, and she was preparing for it, and we were going to do this thing, and Warner Brothers had the project, and we were just all down with it, and just happened. Very sad and very memorable moment for me. I remember just crying fiercely and profusely, and I just looked up and I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't even about Sparkle, it was just the whole happening, you know what I'm saying? And I was going to meet with her that next week before that tragedy, and we were going to get into it, and music and the whole thing, and just kind of, you know, just, that was the question, who's our Sparkle? Who's our Sparkle? And I just said, it'll come. And my partner and I, Deborah Chase, we just said, just lay it down, and it'll come. And when its time is right, it'll come back together, and somebody's going to see our vision in this piece here. And so be it, as it was, as it is today. Someone did see it. Devon Franklin picked it up and he said, listen, this is a piece. And he called Salim and Maura, and they did it. And my thing was, who's our sparkle? Who's our sparkle? And Salim came to me and said, well, look at Jordan Sparks. And I just remember Jordan from Idol. I remember her, that clear and that beautiful voice that she has, that clarity. And I just said, yeah, you're right, she's our sparkle. And she is truly embraced the role and doing such a marvelous job and just putting herself into it, and just her voice is gorgeous and she's just really just perfect, absolutely perfect.
You can make a lot of, a drama, you can make a lot of films, but not one has been made about what has been around for so long, spirituality, God.
Believe in angels?
I believe that we are all angels in our own way, where we want to be, and an angel help comes to assist you. Now, that could be me or anybody that wants to be that. It doesn't have to be angels who come up in heaven with wings and say, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It's about giving. It's about assisting and helping those who are in need.
All right, so you get to sing, you get to act, you get to play a mom. This is like the perfect role. This is you.
Me.
do you really relate to the character?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I know you very well.
What are some of the similarities, other than the ones I just mentioned?
Well, she has a good sense of community. You know what I'm saying? She knows what it takes, and that means to stay. Not to leave it, but to stay. And she cares about people. She cares about people. However, she's a woman, and she feels like every woman does. And yet she's willing to even sacrifice that as long as her husband hears her out. I can relate to some of the stuff. Julia's dedicated. One thing she and I have in common is that she's true blue, we're loyal.
In her singing.
Yeah.
That's when her emotion comes out, and she seems to hold it back until she sings. Is that you as well?
Sometimes, but when I let the emotion out, nobody's around but me and my husband, or, people that I know, It's not all the time I get to, release,
Yeah.
So I do it through my music. I do.
Is this something you always wanted to do a gospel movie?
I always wanted to do a gospel album. Not so much a gospel movie. I didn't know that I would do a gospel album within a movie, but I would have done a gospel album anyway without the movie.
But now that you've done the movie, is it like going home?
Ooh, yeah. Oof. It was fun. It was going home. It was great.
It was also fun for Whitney to have her mom in the movie, singing in the choir. Now, when you were growing up, your mom was head of the choir, right?
Yes.
And you were in the choir?
Yes.
Now, here,
I'm head of the choir. She's in the choir.
So was it fun to do it the other way?
Yeah, it was fun, because it was just acting.
Yeah.
It wasn't for real.
One thing that's very real is Whitney acting with Academy Award winner Denzel Washington. Houston had a chance to see a side of the dramatic actor that few seldom do, and even coined her own nickname for him. Where did Goose Daddy come from?
Denzel, he's like telling all our little jokes and stuff, right? Denzel is silly. He's a very silly kind of guy. We're both closet comedians, But he could goof. I just think he's just a goof daddy, He's got 4 kids, He's a father. He's like...
Her marriage has been a roller coaster ride. Bobby's bouts with the law and his alleged infidelity have been plastered in the tabloids. But Whitney disputes much of his bad press.
Half the stuff they talk about, he's sitting right next to me. I'm saying, you were there? Like, I was here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like somebody invading your home.
Yes. It's like you won't even be home. So you were the person that was in my bedroom with me. I don't know. It's hard.
Unfortunately for Whitney, she and Bobby remain prime targets for the press, and their personal lives remain under a microscope.
I don't talk a lot unless I have to do it in a group like this. Because either somebody misquotes me or somebody lies about me, somebody's telling me something about my husband that's not true, and it's just crap.
And yet you're so easy to talk to. I mean, you are good at this. It must,
right.
You are, and it must be, it's unusual that somebody would be so good at something like this who's not able to do it.
Especially in the time. But I've gotten over it, got by it, I realize that it's a business, that they created that I didn't. They try to put these things, put you in a bowl. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if they want to suffocate you, but I break out of it. I'm not going for it. I'm not going out like that. When they said I OD'd on some diet pills and upset my whole family, I was away. And my mother didn't know what was going on, and she heard it over the radio. And she freaked. I had just had the baby. I was about 150, but losing. I wasn't worried about it. Had no problem for me, you know. But my mother was very upset. And my father, you know, and my business was upset. I was going on tour. The concert promoters were calling. Tickets stopped. I mean, you know, this is the kind of thing that they do. And they don't realize that this is the damage that they do. Freedom of the press sucks, period.
I ask you to stay back. Whitney's fight with the press isn't likely to go away as long as she's married to Bobby and as long as her career continues to flourish. She is struggling to put this all into perspective.
Sometimes, you know, we have to put priorities back in order. Because it does happen. You can get all, you know, loaded with stuff and get far away from the things that really matter, you know. And that you're going to look back one day and say, where's everything? Where's everybody, you know? And you don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that.
Decide that I was going to be in show business. I was born in show business. Okay? My mother, my cousin Dion, my whole family, Dee Dee Warwick, we were all a part of show business. It wasn't like I said, you know what, I'm going to sing or I'm going to be in show business. I came out singing since I was 3. By the time I was 5, I was singing. By the time I was 9, I had a voice of a 20-year-old woman, which was remarkable to my mother and my father, and they were like, oh, my God. So, but I took my time, you know, after 16 years old, and I graduated high school. My mother said I couldn't sign a contract until I graduated high school. And when I graduated high school, I was able to sign because they wanted to sign me at 14. My mother said I was too young, that I didn't know enough, and she was correct.
Is there a misconception?
In 1997, Whitney Houston's long dream to bring Cinderella to television had come true, and E.T. was on the set.
Impossible for a plain yellow pumpkin to become a golden carriage.
That I wasn't going to be Cinderella, and that I would be the fairy godmother.
That's when executive producer Whitney chose 18-year-old Brandy, who had idolized Whitney for years.
Brandy was definitely handpicked by me. Really? I definitely wanted her to be Cinderella, yes.
This is my dream and it's come true. I finally get to work with Whitney.
At 33, Whitney chose to be the fairy godmother, a role that took less time to film.
I knew there was someone who was a lot more full of energy for that kind of stuff than I was. I mean, I'm a little jaded on the energy level. Like,
you're running low.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, you have kids and stuff, you know, and you know, you get kind of like, you know, slow down a little bit.
And just then, her daughter, 4-year-old Bobby Christina, arrived with Daddy Bobby.
Oh, they just came like the other day. I'm a happier woman. I miss them very, very much. Isn't she something? She's growing up on me. It's for reasons like that this is existing.
What are you? You don't want Please do that. That's so dope. Please. That's so nice.
Whitney and Brandy were practically attached at the hip in the recording studio for the TV movie.
Impossible. That was great. Love it. Love it.
Love it.
Keep that take.
Now,
of the fact that when we become famous, that we have these beautiful, perfect lives, and that nothing is ever on a low. It's a bad conception. Because then people always think that you have to be this grand old person that's just happy about life and everything because what, we got money? Well, money doesn't make you happy. It never did. I mean, history will tell you that. And fame certainly doesn't make you happy. You know, people will tell you that who are famous. You got to find the happiness in yourself. You got to know who you are before you step into this business. Because if you're trying to find it, you'll probably wind up being somebody else that you probably don't even like. I like me. I like me.